Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Wednesday wake up show with the Teach Better team, where we get to be live bright and early on Wednesday mornings to make sure that you've not only had a successful week so far, but that you continue to persevere and feel that empowerment to continue to make an impact as an educator halfway through your week so you can get all the way through with success. We have a lot in store for you this morning. I, of course, am continuing to be live with Jeff Gargas. We have a lot of surprises with this show, but this is only our second week together. So we are thrilled to have you here. If you didn't hear our first episode, you can go back 1 week. It's also published as an episode of Teach Better Talk podcast. You can go check out our first show together, see all of our mistakes. But now we are on week 2, and we cannot wait to get started. So grab your coffee and we'll be right back. Hey everyone, good morning. We are here for our Wednesday wake up with the Teach Better team. We are currently streaming on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, and LinkedIn, and we would love to have you share to make sure that we are reaching as many educators as possible, not only this morning, but even if you catch this feed after the fact. We want to welcome you into a successful Wednesday and an epic week supporting students. Jeff, how are you feeling this morning? It is bright and early.
I am good. I have 2 things that I have to say right away. One is I think it's hilarious that you're like, if you want to see all of our mistakes, go to last week, as if they're not going to happen this morning.
Yeah, they'll happen today. They'll happen.
2, so typically I don't use my AirPods. I'm getting right into this. I hope that's okay.
I mean,
I don't use my AirPods. I usually go directly in, right? So
Sure.
Today I was like, I'm going to use my AirPods. I don't have the cable. It's nice. But then I also usually bring up the Facebook group on my phone because we can't see the comments as easily.
Sure.
But while you were doing your intro there, my AirPods went, oh, you're on your phone? And went to the phone. So I wasn't connected here. And I'm like, she's going to ask me like a question and I'm not going to be able to hear her. And so that's where I'm at this morning.
Wow, that was a really long description for I'm doing okay. That essentially is what I just got from
I'm
that.
doing good. Yeah, I guess that's okay. I don't know. I'm doing great. I'm excited to be here. Day 2 of, which is weird because it's like a week, but 2. We were just talking about like how it's weird not doing it every day for you. Well, it's like week 2. We'll call it week 2. So I'm excited.
Right. I mean, our network knows. We have a lot of friends in the comments. Good morning, Rochelle and Dave, Katie. I know Andrea's here, Nikki's here. It's so good to see all of you. Thank you for commenting. We love to like have that engagement back and forth because Jeff and I have a plan, but obviously we love to have you a part of this conversation. And thank you to those of you who we can already see sharing this feed to make sure that we are reaching as many educators as possible this morning with a dose of positivity, some tidbits to consider throughout your day. We'll get into all that stuff. But Jeff, I will tell you, it is kind of nice to have an intentional morning where you and I get to catch up and kind of gossip about the team.
Mm-hmm.
But like we were saying before we went live, I almost forgot about this morning.
Which is funny because we had a later meeting last night, and that's like when you remembered, and I'm like, that's funny because moments prior to that I remembered.
Yeah.
And that's just where we're at. So it's good. But you know what? So we decided we're going to text each other every Tuesday. Like, hey, can't wait to see you in the morning. It'll be like a totally fake text, but like that's
right.
What we're going to do.
Like I actually will be able to wait to see you in the morning. But I will say, like, can't wait to see you, buddy. It'll be awesome. I will say we actually have already I got a few messages of people in our network sharing that like a reminder might be nice via email. So we'll set that up for your friends. You'll get the option of getting a Wednesday wake up email reminder for either Tuesday beforehand, so you can set an alarm, or Wednesday morning. We'll figure all that out. We did that for daily drop-in.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
So we'll figure out how to support you. We don't want this to be a stress in your day, but it might be helpful. Even though it wasn't for me, it might be helpful for y'all to set a calendar reminder for yourself because it's just every single week at 7 a.m. Eastern on Wednesday mornings. But for me, that didn't help because I just didn't look high enough on my calendar to see it. So,
back in the day, people could get text reminders from Mastery Chat. I think you and I need a text reminder every Tuesday night, like because I'm worried if we're texting each other, well, what if we both forget. We need someone else to text us every Tuesday evening and be like, can't wait to see you on Wednesday Wake Up.
Here's my thinking. We have a lot of friends in the comments here that I know are quite responsible. I've named a few, but now I see Brianne's also in here. Aaron's also in here. Like, we have a lot of people that I feel like may not forget. So maybe they need to text us.
I'm gonna love next week when we get like 25 texts on Tuesday evenings.
You know what? But what a good way to wake up with a morning text. Look, my mother's in the comments. She suggests a Post-it note in the bathroom.
She's brilliant. That is a brilliant woman right there.
Here's my concern. If you have a Post-it note, here's the problem. It's only once a week. So if you put a Post-it note in the bathroom,
it's there all week. You're gonna ignore it by the time you get to next week. That's the problem.
It would have to say like, "Hey, ... is it Tuesday night? Question mark. Don't forget about Wednesday wake up."
You just need like a literally set like it's every single eve that it pops up and it says it's tomorrow Wednesday.
I'm gonna put it on my calendar Tuesday night to be like, "Hey Goof, have you set your alarm?"
Can you make it actually literally that? Invite me to that calendar event every Tuesday evening that says, "Hey Goof."
I will.
You've been good with some of the names lately. You've pulled out Doofus recently and Goof. I'm enjoying this.
I mean, good. I'm channeling my middle school lingo. Okay, this is good.
Your mom is offering to wake you up like she did when you were in school.
Oh, that's so sweet, Mom. See, this is the love and the dedication.
Julie, can you wake me up too? Can you call me and wake me up? My mom used to sing us a song in the morning. Can you call me and sing me a song in the morning?
Can we clarify this for our network? Because Julie Ford can also participate in this. If you were going to set a reminder for yourself in the evening, like a Tuesday evening, to set an alarm for Wednesday morning, what time would you want that reminder to go off? Like, it has to be at a time where you still have your phone on you, like you haven't chosen to put it away for the night. Mm-hmm. And it has to be a time that like sparks when you're like kind of winding down to think about tomorrow morning.
It's got to be early enough to keep you from doing something that would keep you up late, but late enough to make sure that you're ready to accept it.
Because last night I almost stayed up and like had an additional element of my evening. And then I saw that we had Wednesday wake up and I was like, ooh, no. I need to wrap up my day. I need to go to bed. Computer needs to go away. I'm just saying.
You know, I
put in the comments, by the way, while Jeff is talking, put in the comments, when would you set this alarm? Tuesday night is what we're talking about.
I'd also love, if you want to add to that, would it be like just a calendar event or would you have like something else happening every Tuesday night to remind you? Like, Ray and I are looking for any and every idea here. Yeah. Like, we're really worried about this.
Out of curiosity, who's going to be the person that's going to be like, hey, you can repeat alarms, just set it for every Wednesday and then you don't have to worry about it?
Yeah, that's how you, that's, we're going to pretend like that doesn't exist.
Okay, fine.
So I do want to, one more story about my morning this morning. So I slept on the couch last night because Jacqueline hasn't been feeling well. So she slept in bed with Amy, took my spot, which she does often. Wow. And so Jonathan comes out this morning and he like pokes me just really gently. And then it gets harder. And I like wake up. I'm like, hey, buddy. He's like, hey, Dad, it's almost 7. And I'm like, what? I pop up. I looked, I'm like, dude, it's almost 6. What are you doing right now? He's like, oh, I'm like, I'm supposed to be getting up. It was 5:44 and my alarm was 5:45 and I'm like, I needed that 1 minute, dude. But so that was my wake up. I popped up like, you have that like, oh no, I slept in thing and Ray's gonna be mad at me. Mm-hmm. You pop up quick.
Can I just clarify? You're East Coast, so my alarm goes off an hour earlier. Just to confirm.
Yes. Well, it's at the same time, but like in the world, you're an hour earlier.
Yeah, it is.
It's like two people who are born at the same exact time in 2 different time zones, and one's older than the other one, but they're literally the exact same age.
Wow, you've blown my mind right now. I didn't even think about that phenomenon that exists in the world. You're an incredible person, Jeff Gargas.
I really am.
I know we had like things we were going to discuss to like catch up. I was going to ask how your family was and like see how your week's been. But to be honest, we really need to get into our teachable moments. So are you game to like continue this, but maybe like streamline it a little towards education? We got stuff to talk about.
Sure. Why not? Sure. We can do that. Let's do that.
Okay. I mean, like, do you want to mentally prepare like a deep breath maybe?
I got coffee. I'm good. I'm excited to be here with you this morning. Yeah, push it. Right, that was a great transition. And welcome back to our Wednesday Wake Up. We're live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, and LinkedIn every Wednesday morning at 7 a.m. Eastern time. Or if you're with Ray, it's an hour earlier, but the same time, which is crazy. Anyway, we're talking about teachable moments. So one of our goals here on Wednesday morning was to give something, some actionable items that we can take into the rest of the week and beyond, hopefully, to just be better, whether it's a little bit better or a lot bit better. So Ray, I had a thought this morning that I was hoping that you might be able to just sort of vamp on as we do when I'm like, hey Ray, take 20 seconds and cover this topic. But you can take longer. You can take like 4.5 to 5 minutes.
Whoa.
Ish.
Don't tease me.
So I'm in a couple masterminds with business folks and stuff like that, and one of them is like it's called an MBA program, and so it's like we go to like a higher level like challenge. There's just a little more, I don't know what it is. It's with the CEO of a big company and whatnot. Anyway, one of the things we've been talking about there this week specifically was is communication. We talked a lot about communication styles and how do we communicate not only with team members but also with colleagues, with ourselves, all that type of stuff. And so I started thinking, like, what do I want to talk about on Wednesday? I'm thinking, well, communication is so crucial in education. We're at the start of the year. So right now is when we're trying to hopefully establish in sort of the foundations of our communication with, whether it's with our students, with our stakeholders, with our leadership, with our colleagues, with our community, whatever it is. So I was hoping that you might be able to talk through sort of your process of how you've done it, but also how you see all the other teachers doing it that you work with. What are some, and I'd love to find a way that we can give a very actionable item to the audience today of what's something we can do right now, whether it's a tool, a system, a thought process to go through to really set up sustainable communication for the rest of our school year. And I know you love this because I know so many other ways that you've done this, and you had really unique ways that you communicate with your stakeholders and very effectively as well. So I'm gonna do put the quarter in Ray here and just let you go. But like, so what are some of the things that you're seeing or that you did that, like, what's the key? I guess what's the one thing we need to do right now?
First off, the key is to identify that you just said sustainable communication, because that's actually the hurdle anytime we're working on communication. We could be talking about communication here to remind you about Wednesday Wake Up. We could be talking about communication when we talk about classroom teachers to parents or to students. We could talk about district leaders out to the community. Communication holistically is a massive undertaking. The fact that it is sustainable is the part that I think everyone gets tripped up on when you run into communication issues. Educators have had years and years and years of practice, and unfortunately we will continue to all have years and years and years of practice in how to appropriately phrase things and make sure that our language stays positive. There's so much research in how our language affects our communication, and that's a skill that I truly believe nobody has mastered. We are constantly evolving in this, and there are some people I know in my life who are so good. So good. I lean on them so often.
Thanks. I appreciate that a lot.
Jeff Gargas is so good, but truly so good at finding ways to clearly articulate a message, right? We always say, like, clear is kind. And so that the language we use is so important. But I think that I've developed such a passion for the sustainability, the scalability of our communication, simply because more often than not, at least in the classroom, communication becomes another thing on the to-do list. Mm-hmm. So when you can take communication off of your to-do list and make it a part of how you plan, how you structure your time, it's a completely different way of life, in my opinion, because it's not an extra thing. It's the thing that just happens. And so I want to get into this, but Jeff, can I just call you out really quick before we get into some tips and tricks? Because communication, first off, is our new theme for our admin mastermind. So if you're an administrator right now and this is an interesting topic to you, the entire month of September, it literally just kicked off this last Tuesday, the entire month of September is focusing on stakeholder communication. So you can sign up for that free conversation every single Tuesday at 9 a.m. Eastern over at teachbetter.com/mastermind. It's for anybody with a leadership role. So maybe you're a coach, maybe you're an assistant principal, a district leader. That could be a good fit for you, just to like share ideas. Maybe you have a strategy you want to share with others. And then just to continue to call you out, Jeff, we have our Sunday show, Sunday weekly warm up. And that one has a panel coming up in September on September 18th. It's a Sunday night at 8 p.m. Eastern. And that one is focusing on communication. We're bringing in like Dr. Neil Gupta and Dawn Harris and Dana Kirby. They're going to be discussing in a panel format how to effectively communicate. And that's happening on September 18th. So you are totally on vibe here, like on theme.
I'm trying to figure, wait, are you calling me out or celebrating me for knowing what's going on? Like, I'm confused.
I love it because this is communication. You can't just talk about once. You can't. So I love that this is a good opportunity to like get the juices flowing, right? And then follow up with like, hold yourself accountable this month to visit maybe these other pockets of discussion to keep your communication style up. I kind of love it. I'm a fan. Yeah. So, all right. So let's get into this. Like,
okay, if you're gonna go. Otherwise, I have a question for you based on what you said. But you can go. I'm here to listen and learn.
No. My tidbit, which I think we can hopefully dive into more specifically with questions not only from you, but even in our comments. Good morning to Debbie, by the way, seeing her jump in. We'd love to hear your reflections, your questions about communication. I would always lean, and you can do this K-12 because I know we coach a lot of teachers in this space. I would always lean towards making communication a part of your daily lesson planning, where your students take accountability of communicating with stakeholders about what you're learning or what they did or where their struggles are. So I'm going to give an example, and then I hope we can have some questions back and forth, especially from our comment section. But for those of you who use the grid method, which again, if you don't, it's fine. But the reason it's relevant is because we support educators to kind of run a specific format in their classroom. And at the very end of class, we like to recommend 3 to 5 minutes of student goal setting and reflection. This is a really important process when you're sustaining a self-paced classroom focused on mastery learning ideals. So the element of goal setting and reflection could be an internal process where maybe a student's writing on a sheet of paper, you'll use it the next day, won't get into how it's being used. But I actually would love to challenge our community. If you're already having students document their process, reflect on how they're doing, and communicate how their work session's going, why not find a tool, preferably a free tool, because save your money, find a tool where that reflection can be seen by your stakeholders. So whether that be that the goal setting sheet goes home every week and there's a parent signature that gets added, there's some hurdles that could come with that, but teach their own. I always used a free website that I never paid for it, but what it did was it linked the student's profile to the parent's like app on their phone. So anytime the student, which meant every single day, the student made a submission to say, this is what I did today. This is how I felt. Here's my goal for my next work session. The parent like got a notification on their phone being like, Susie just submitted a reflection. Go watch her video reflection. It was a constant daily communication with parents to say, here's how math class is going. So that would be my challenge or tidbit would be, can we find a way to make communication organically a part of what you're already doing versus another thing?
And I love that because you're building into something, like you said, something that's already happened there. Also, from a parent standpoint, getting that notification, now I've got something to ask my student, right? Because we always joke about like what'd you do in school today? I don't know, right? Yeah. Well, now I've got something like, hey, I saw you worked on multiplication today. How's that going? Right. So now I have it, or you said you're struggling or whatever, like, how can I help? Now we have a conversation piece, and I'm also updated. I'm aware of what's going on. If I see an issue, I now can reach out to you because I'm seeing it day by day.
Another tool I'm seeing, Jessica's commenting about how she does a newsletter and remind. I think that if you're using something like Remind, which by the way, if you're using that, like I know so many educators love that tool. It's kind of like a text message system. A way to make that a little bit more sustainable could be that sending a Remind message home to families becomes a discussion point in your classroom every single Friday, where when you lay out your Friday list of to-dos with your students, depending on what age group you're with, you're gonna be like, all right, 10 o'clock, we're gonna write our Remind message home. Can we brainstorm a list of updates we might want to give our families this week? So that way it's not just you having to add this to your to-do list, but can you embed it and have your students create some ownership around communicating to stakeholders?
I'm thinking about the ownership, but also that like you're working on their communication skills of what do we want to tell your parents, and they say what you want. Okay, how do we do that? How do we make sure they understand it? Because they're not in our class, they don't have all this info, right? So now you're talking about how they can be clear, which is kind. And I love it. So
and you're allowing the students to see you model that your community, your learning environment is beyond the walls of your classroom.
Yes.
You're really modeling for them, saying it's not just important that here within this room, all 34 of us find success, but we're going to make sure our community outwards, outside of this room, are aware of what's going on and find ways to support us internally here. I think that's a passion of mine in general, but something that communication can further emphasize.
And it becomes that weekly sort of reflection if you're doing it weekly. So I'm looking at Jessica with the weekly. So now you bring your students, let's think about this whole week, right? What have we thought about? Which, by the way, back to the parent thing, makes it more likely that they might remember what to talk about when they get home, because now they've thought about it more. They still probably will say, I don't know, but but you give it another opportunity, you're reflecting on it, possibly raising questions that weren't raised, all built into this that is eventually also going to cover. It's like Ray's point where it's not this extra thing, it's built into all these other benefits.
I mean, there's so many educators that have spaces in their classroom, like stations or specific areas designated for information. You could have a news feed every week of reminders where you're writing down, oh, we need to remember that next week's picture day. Let's write it on our list. So on Friday, we remember that that's something we want to send in our remind updates. I mean, you can have it be a daily occurrence, maybe only send the message, once a week. But again, finding a way that communication can be sustainable and scalable so it's not another thing on your list, I think can really allow your parents to feel up to date, feel included, but as an educator, not have it fall flat by forgetting to put it higher on your to-do list.
So when you were doing the daily, when the reflections, did you also send newsletters, videos? Like what did you do as far as was it all embedded into that for your stakeholders? So outside of the emergency things that need to be communicated or whatever.
Sure, it's really interesting. So I like the daily message, and I love that the daily message came from their child, right? Yeah. I really loved that the student was communicating their experience through their eyes and their lens. That was a skill we were working on. So I loved that it was emphasized on a daily basis. I too would send occasional updates when emergencies arose, when important elements of the school needed to be communicated. And then I would really go into when you choose to communicate with families, how can you do it as effectively as possible? For goal setting and reflection, the students could actually choose from 6 different mediums to communicate with their parents. The basic ones that all of us would probably lean towards would like type a note out, record a video, do an audio message, take a picture, right? There are all these options. I love to then pull those in to mind communication with families. So if I'm sending an email or if I'm sending a remind text message to my families, I would love to not only share the highlights, it'd be like, hey, parents, have some sort of welcome sentence. And then I would include a video. And I'd say, here's a 3-minute video of really important updates. And then below that, I would say, if you don't have time to watch the 3-minute video, here's the 3 takeaways I want you to have. And I'd give them a bulleted list and then just say, sincerely, Miss Hughart. So they had the option of experiencing a 3-minute video where they could see my face, hear my tone, right? Understand my inflection on some of the bullet points that I want them to take away. But I also was reaching those families that maybe didn't have the time to pull up the video and they could still get those tidbits of information in the text. So you're kind of meeting parents where they're at. Maybe they want more contact with you, versus maybe they just need like a quick update. And I think that sustainability also allows your parents to get to know you as a human being to better understand how, like, what you're communicating.
I love that you mentioned about that, because I was actually going to ask about that, because one of the things that we've talked about in the mastermind that I referenced is that the data pretty strongly supports the fact that sending a video along with any kind of text or any kind of update in that way is actually more effective, because I might prefer video over that. Also, I'm going to get to see you, hear tone and stuff, where tone, excitement, clarification can't always happen necessarily in the text version, where in a video I can say the line that you read and then I can also elaborate more without getting messy. And so I think that's a really great point. What was the, do you remember, what's the tool that you, sorry, go ahead with whatever you're going to say, but like, I was curious earlier, you referenced the tool that you've used with your students. I want to make sure that we share that if we can.
Yeah. So what I love about video and this like quick text as well. So it's like both, you get the audio and the visual and the typing text that's quick to consume for most families. The thing I also like is, my hope would be I could pull up the video and they could either choose to fully engage in the video, meaning that they're seeing me, hearing me, and getting the information. They could choose to, like, while they're holding a baby and stirring pasta for dinner, put the phone down and just listen to my voice, right? That's a benefit as well. They don't even need to see me in my smiley face as I'm like waving my arms to communicate with them. Or they could simply skim it while they're, unbuckling student or kids from the car and run into whatever their next activity is. So I feel like you're giving parents permission to choose what's easiest for them and still get the information. The website I used for my students to communicate outwardly to families was Seesaw. I know that there's a paid version of Seesaw. I have no way to be an advocate for the paid version because I never used it, but the free version was always what I needed. I used it probably for 8+ years as my medium to communicate. And I loved the versatility of it. So something to consider. But as far as recording videos to families, I mean, we all lived on Zoom forever. I literally would just like sit in front of my computer, record a quick thing. You could upload it to YouTube or just attach it to the email. So.
Yeah, I want to reference like Katie saying allowing kids to be part of the communication bridges the gap between home and school, while encouraging students to be an advocate for learning. I love that. That's what I love how you're setting it up there. Mentioned a Flip. I was thinking Flip when you were talking about the videos and stuff. I forgot that you were such a
I will say
Seesaw.
There's so many apps out there, and I want to emphasize you just need to know what you're trying to accomplish. So Seesaw I really liked because each student had their own portal, so they couldn't see each other's reflections. It was a private reflection. And only myself, the student themselves, and the adult connected to their account, the guardian, could see what the student was experiencing. If you use something, and the other thing I liked in addition to that was that they could choose to do a video one day, but then they could also choose a different medium the next day, and it was all housed within one system. So if it was a quick reflection, they might type it out. They could do an audio, take a picture, do a video. There's a lot of versatility, and you could change it in that moment. If you use a program like Flip is great. There's a bunch of settings you could look at. You could look at commenting versus no commenting. Some of the privacy you want to explore depending on how you want the communication to be shared. So again, all these apps that exist are incredible resources. Please make sure you use the resources that you have accessible to you in addition to the free ones that exist. Just make sure you weigh the pros and cons with your communication.
I love it. Also, someone jumping in and mentioning Wakelet, Padlet. If you please keep commenting and share whatever tools you have, you share. Please, I'd love to keep filling up the comments with that, and how you're using and stuff like that would be great as well. Canva, recording tools, so a lot of great tools to use. I think.
Go ahead.
No, I think just referencing to you, the important part is like Ray said, look at those tools and then assess what is important to you, what do you need, and figure out the best one so that it can become a sustainable part of your practice.
I love it. We could literally talk about this all day, which is why it's our entire monthly theme for Mastermind, which is why we're doing a panel on Sunday, the 18th, to discuss this further. But Jeff, I think we should transition here because we have somebody that we're going to highlight today that's actually really good at communication.
That's a really good point. Yes, let's get into our community member highlight.
back with our Wednesday Wake Up, where we are live every single Wednesday at 7 a.m. Eastern to continue your week of success, give you a few tidbits, some challenges we want you to consider, give you some team updates and gossip, and then obviously also highlight incredible people that might be able to support you to persevere throughout your week. And we have an incredible community highlight here for you this morning. Jeff, this person is so good on communication that they even just recently released a course in our Teach Better Academy focused on relationships. Relationships are like, communication is a huge element of fostering a healthy relationship. It's kind of goes hand in hand.
Yes. This person is very good at this.
Very good at this. She also is probably still snoozing right now. So if somebody could tag her in the comments here in a second.
I hope so.
She's West Coast, so she may not be live with us right now, but we wanted to give a big shout out to the one and only Livia Chan. Livia Chan is the digital content creator for the Teach Better team, and she's also a head teacher and elementary classroom teacher. I don't know how she maintains all three of those titles, but she is absolutely outstanding with the work that she does. When we asked her what fuels her in education, here was the tidbit that she gave us. She says, every atomic interaction is an opportunity to intentionally uplift others and build a strong relationship through love, kindness, and gratitude. We can make an impact in their lives and imprint on their hearts when we make them feel seen, valued, heard, and appreciated. Believe in them until they believe in themselves, then believe more. Ugh. Livia Chan right there. Liv is an incredible addition to our team. We're so fortunate to have her in our community. And if you are not connected to Liv, we have her handle right there, so you can go follow her and make sure that she is an additional part of your PLN. Jeff, I know you've had a lot of opportunity to get to know Liv. What are your thoughts on why she's a perfect community highlight?
Well, one, the takeaway of what she shared there is just 100% Liv. Mm-hmm. I think what's key about Liv is that everything is authentic in her, and she's but very thoughtful. So she's very thoughtful about how she speaks and before she speaks. And one of the things I think that is that she does so well is in that thoughtfulness. She's not only thinking, how do I want to effectively communicate this? How do I want to make sure I come across? But also she's thinking, how is this going to potentially make that person feel? And is that what I'm hoping for or not? Am I considering all the aspects of that person's life in the way in which I'm going to come across to effectively get my message across? And she's that way, whether it's to pump you up and make you believe in yourself, which she does extremely well, but also if she needs to address something and approach something that isn't as fun of a topic to approach, she's thinking through that. And I think it's the authenticity that she has and that thoughtfulness that really and understanding when you flip what she was talking about, how we have the potential to impact them and to imprint them, that's both a positive or negative way. And so I think understanding that, and she's very, very thoughtful of that and aware of that. Also, when she talks about that and she says things like that, like she can share story after story of those people who have impacted her and, to her words, imprinted on her heart, both positively and negatively. And that's what she carries with it all the time. And I think that's really, really important to be thinking about, is that sort of that authenticity, but also understanding what you're trying to do and looking from the other person's side before you even speak. And she does it all obviously in seconds. She's like a human computer of awesomeness. I don't know. She's great. I think she's fantastic. I know our community loves her, and I know we are all, we don't know what we've done to deserve her to have her on the team either. So appreciate you, Liv.
Yeah, we love you, Liv. If you're looking to engage with Livia Chan, you not only can follow her on social media, Twitter specifically, but I would also encourage you all, if you're a guest blogger, Liv is somebody that you will have a lot of contact with. So if you have any interest for blogging for the Teach Better team, you can head over to teachbetter.com/blog, scroll all the way down, and you can apply to be a guest blogger with our site. So you'd have a lot of interaction with our blog team, which includes Liv. And then the other thing is she's got that brand new course in the Academy that just released a few weeks ago. It's all focused on relationships and about how we can not only foster relationships with students, it actually focuses more on how we can maintain healthy relationships with colleagues. If you're new to a building, if you want to develop your relationships with staff in a building, just things to consider. It's over 45 plus videos with a lot of resources and challenges. So that's over at teachbetteracademy.com, but lots of access with live content.
Yes, lots of value in that course.
Before we wrap up here, we want to make sure we give you all a morning challenge, an actionable step that you can all take this morning to make sure you have not only a successful day, but a successful week ahead. So we'll be right back.
Welcome back to Wednesday Wake Up. We're about ready to wrap up here, but we are still live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, and LinkedIn every Wednesday morning at 7 a.m. Eastern Time, assuming Ray and I both remember to be here, which we are working on because Julie's going to remind us every week. Anyway, we wanted to leave you. We love to leave you with a challenge. Ray, I'm going to stick with the communication theme right now because I'm feeling that I think what I'd like to do is challenge everyone who's watching, listening, and whenever you see this, spend the next few days. I want you to audit your communication. Mm-hmm. So today, when you start your day, you think through, I want you to take note of any time you are communicating, whether that's via your student or to your students, to your colleagues, to your stakeholders, and that, but how are you communicating and is it effectively coming across? And are there ways, like I want you to focus on how Ray was talking about sustainability and have it built in. Is your communication like that other thing you have to go check off, or are you building it in? And if you do that for a few days, and maybe even take a whole week of assessing that, then you can look back and, okay, what tools do I need to put in place? Because this is an extra thing, which is not sustainable for my full school year. But if I can find a way to, maybe I can mix these two communications together. Maybe I bring my students in here. Now I can find an effective way to do this and sustain this for the rest of the year. So I challenge you to sort of audit your communication this week so that you can set yourself up for success in the future. And if you do that, I'd love to have you tweet out at us, tag the team, let us know, challenge accepted. And if you want to share what you're doing and what you've discovered, that'd be awesome as well. So
that'd be great. The team is available on like every social media platform possible. So if you prefer Instagram or Twitter or Facebook or anything in between, just tag at Teach Better Team and it'll be a good thing to celebrate. I'm excited for that. Jeff, yes. Before we wrap up here, that was an awesome challenge. I'm very, very excited for people to be sharing out and also know that there's more dialogue and support to come if any of you are interested in continuing to enhance your communication styles this year. But other updates that are like not communication related, can we get into those before we wrap up?
Teams all over the place this week. Out in Idaho, Chad's on his way out to Idaho right now. Ohio, Dave's got a bunch of virtual this week and then bounced back to Ohio. You and Katie are getting ready to go all over the place next week. So team's out and about and around. That's awesome. If you want us to come hang out with you, let us know. You already mentioned both Livia's course that's out, Build Better Relationships, that's over in Teach Better Academy. You mentioned the September 18th, specifically that Sunday for our Sunday warm-up with that panel, but that's also every Sunday. So you can join Brad and Ray every Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern. What's this Sunday?
This week, we have Katie Miglin joining us, and I am so nervous. That's going to be the goofiest show. If you guys want a good giggle, I would come and join us.
What's awesome about that, if you're not familiar with the Sunday, and I know we got to go, but like the Sunday warm-up is really cool because it's going to be slightly different every week in the sense of there might be a guest, there might be panels, there's going to be deep dives. It's going to be really cool. So I really put that on your calendar every Sunday at 8 p.m. And then it also does pop up to the podcast. It does get replayed on Monday nights everywhere, but Sunday night in the private Facebook group is where you can engage in the conversation. So get there. Definitely mark the 18th on your calendar as well. And then, of course, Ray, the Teach Better Conference happening October 14th, 15th here in Akron, Ohio, teachbetterconference.com. You can register to go there now. You should. There are some amazing speakers coming out. We've got an incredible lineup, and
I will say
there are. I want to say I'm going to go a little bit Ray here. There are a lot of discount codes floating around, so find them.
So many.
Find the discount codes or come talk to us because there's a lot of discount codes out there to save you some money.
Yeah, I legitimately just emailed you guys yesterday if you're on our email list, or maybe it was Monday if you're on our email list, with a letter that's already templated to bring to your principal to say, hey, I want to go to Teach Better. Is there any opportunity for support to have me go, either financially or like subs or whatever? And then in that same email, I gave you a $25 off discount code. So use all the things. We've thought of everything to try and get you there. So if you need something, we probably have it. Just like email us.
If you need a sub, I'll come. I will come to your school and sub so you can come to I don't need to be there. So
also, Jeff, not to brag, but like the signage for the conference is going to be just pretty so amazing.
We did spend 16 hours yesterday looking through all the signage.
Because we don't want you guys to get lost.
We don't want you to get lost. It's going to be fun. I'm going to love it when everyone's like, this wasn't hard to find anyway. And we're like,
oh my God. If they walk.
And they're like, not going to be able to be like, that's because of the signage. And we're like, no, I didn't look at it. We'll be like, all right, well, Ray's quitting.
Yeah, if you guys walk in that building and you easily figure out the layout, you're fired. I just want to be clear.
Listen,
like you need to walk in and be confused and lean on those signs. Lean on them.
We're gonna go here, but like if listen, I need you all to listen to me. Like pretend Ray's not here. When you come to the conference, I need you to tell Ray how beautiful the signage is, even if you don't think it was beautiful, even if you don't use it. For me, I need this. I need to make sure, because otherwise it's gonna be like the rest of the year. I need you to help me out and just tell her that you can tell her today that the signage looks awesome. She's not going to remember that you don't see it yet. Help me out. Like I'm nervous right now.
You know, like a kid that walks into a toy store or walks into Legoland and they're like, wow, like that's what I need when you guys see the stinking posters. I need you to walk in and be like, wow, I feel so supported with my direction. Like, just can't wait.
I just went to Legoland not too long ago with my kids, and that was me. That's how I responded.
And that will be your reaction when you walk into the building of the Teach Better Conference 2022, October 14th and 15th, because you're going to engage with incredible people and incredible directional signage. Just can't wait.
TeachBetterConference.com. Don't pay full price. See someone on a team, get a discount so we can save you some money. Appreciate y'all.
Bye, friends.